take it a little slower. I don't wake up pregnant.
I'm a different kind of cop.
I don't wanna do your dirty work no more.
Boom. Season 3. We're here. We've made it the first 2. Now we're in it. I just want to get this out of the way. Kind of a weird start. I think one show did all right. I think the other 2 is a weird year we're in. Hopefully we both can figure it out. Mark, how are you? How was your viewing experience this week?
Yeah, we definitely got 3 season premieres where
That's
things are just kind of just starting up, and yeah, that's what.
Was your viewing experience good?
Yeah, yeah, let me say that. Yeah.
Sure. Matt, how are you? How was your viewing experience?
Doing good. We get to start 3 shows fresh into season 3. We finally caught up, I think, to all the clips in our intro there. I definitely had the Leo moment off.
Yeah.
Did not take as long as last season when you guys already were in a season 4 moment in the start.
That Oz moment we were waiting
It was
for
a little
so
bit more
long.
spoilerier than the Sopranos.
Let me tell you, it was very once the gun actually happens in Oz, it was very
Oh,
anticlimactic.
these are characters we don't care about.
I was like, I know exactly what's about to happen because I've seen it every week for multiple weeks. Yes, this week was a little rough for me overall because we peeked behind the curtain. We did move this up a day because national holidays the next day, which is March Madness. The 2 days that I will rot on my couch watching television. But these guys moved forward, and I think I'm the only one that probably struggled with it because I'm like, holy shit. 5 minutes before I hit record, I was finishing episode 3 of my show. So, but it's a good time. We're here. We're discussing stuff. We're going to start with The Shield. After the weird let off of last season 2 when people got casted, moved on, stories had to pick up and move. Take us, what's happening on in the barn, man?
Yeah, we did cut them a little slack at the end of last season, but gloves are off now, so we got to dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting off season 3, episode 1, Playing Tight. The strike team is trying to kind of play by the rules, lay low after the money heist of last season. And, they actually seem kind of happy. They're joking around. Shane's a little bored, but they end up catching a drug dealer in the act. But as they go to make the bust, he drives away. However, they're able to chase him down. He gets out, causes a car accident. Lem is trying to help the person out of the other vehicle that was involved in the wreck. And bullets start flying all over the place. We find out that the van that the dealer ran into was full of ammunition that had caught fire and is just shooting off rounds all over the place. Vic interrogates the driver, and they come to the conclusion that he was running ammo for the Bizlats, a gang that his son is in. So Vic and Shane go and question the guy's son. Get a little bit more information there. One of Vic's informants tells him that Kern Little has also been buying lots of guns. So they go to see Kern, and he says he's just trying to do it to keep up with the Bizlats because they're getting all these high-powered machine guns and stuff going on. And he finds out that they're buying from the same person. Lem calls Vic and Shane to a crime scene where one of Kern's bodyguards was shot dead by one of the Bizlats. So the strike team waits with Kern's crew for the arms dealer, but he doesn't show up this time. Then we cut to do a little family time for Vic. Vic brings his daughters home, and he meets Matthew's tutor, Owen, who's making good progress with Matthew. Corrine wants to go back to work so that they can pay Owen to work with Matthew full time. Vic isn't so keen on the idea of her going back to work, but hey, that's what it is. We find out that Claudette is about to transition to the captain position in 3 days. Julian has a new partner named Tommy, but Julian's performance is kind of off. He's still kind of recovering a little bit from he got beat up a little bit last season. Last season didn't end very well for Julian. Vic talks with Julian and tells him everyone is kind of watching him to see how he responds to the blanket party that he received. And then kind of later on in the episode, Julian ends up attacking one of the officers. And when the guy wouldn't confess to beating him, he breaks his arm. So Julian's got a little bit of meanness to him at the beginning of the season here. In other news, Shane has a new girlfriend, Mara. Shane is helping her to buy a car, which Vic does not. Good idea. So he ends up not helping her. She's not happy about it. But then by the end of the episode, he helps her buy the car, so she's happy.
Yeah, real dumb.
Aceveda gives Dutch and Claudette a double homicide of Armenians who are missing their feet. They go to the crime scene. You got two guys in the bottom of a swimming pool missing their feet. Dutch asks Vic if he knows anything about any Armenian mob beefs. And Vic takes the pictures back to the strike team, who recognize that the Armenians are trying to figure out who robbed the money train. Dutch somehow takes a leap and thinks back to season 1 with the creepy, crazy Margos guy who had kind of like a little feet fetish, and he thinks this guy is involved in it. The Armenian driver from the finale of last season comes to the barn. He tells Dutch that he can tell him about the murders if he can protect his family. He also sees Lem, who he recognizes from the car accident. We also find out apparently Shane used the name Cletus Van Dam to rent the storage locker where they were storing the money because it made Lem laugh.
It was funny.
Yeah.
He is the dumbest motherfucker alive. Like this 3 shows that we picked are just a bunch of idiots. Like there are idiots in every aspect, but they're some of the dumbest people in TV. Like it's crazy.
You gotta have dumb people to make the story go.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, so they have to move all that money out of the storage locker into a new storage area. And then Dutch gets an interesting visit from Agent Quigley from Treasury, where, side note, we learned that Dutch's name is actually Holland, is his first name, and they just call him Dutch as a nickname. But yeah, so the Treasury has been investigating the Armenians for some time now, and through their investigation, they think about $50,000 in marked and traced bills and made their way onto the money train shipment that was robbed.
Isn't this one of the dumbest loopholes ever in a show history? Because so we end last season, right? They get all that money. And we're like, well, fuck, Vic. Like, you ain't got to do fucking anything anymore. $50,000 is marked. I'm just like, fuck off. Like, this is like quintessential early TV where it's just like, and on this episode, like, fuck off. Like, I was just sitting there, I was like, of course it is. Of course $50,000. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of that $50,000 is right on the top of it. Shane used it to buy a car. Just saying, if that happens later, I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't know. I'm sure that might come into play at some point this season. That money's being used for all sorts of things.
Yeah, I think that the group that's rich right now are not going to be rich for too long.
Dutch tells Vic that Armin, the driver, said the robbers also killed the 2 Armenians that were found at the crime scene there, which the strike team kind of freaks out about because it means that if they're ever caught for the robbery, those 2 murders could also be pinned on them. Vix gives them the keys to the storage unit, but says they need to wait 6 months before they start laundering the money. Dutch and Claudette catch the guy who took out the feetless Armenians as directed by Margos. He was mailing the feet to Margos in Greece, but Dutch was able to intercept the package and get it redirected to the barn. However, the Greece government would not be willing to assist in arresting Margos in Athens. Aceveda asks Dutch not to give Vic any more information about the Armenian case. We see that Danny is now working security at a school. Aceveda approaches her about coming back to the barn if she'd be willing to work with him and keep an eye on Vic. Aceveda tells Claudette that he's not ready to step down yet. She gets a little bit angry because he ended up taking some of her ideas that she was going to implement. And he tells her that he's going to be able to get more done because he will have pool with the chief of police.
You want to talk about another? So this episode felt like a giant hit the red button of what decisions we made last season to correct those decisions this season. We gave Vic and them a lot of money. Well, if they have a lot of money, why are they still cops? That's a really great question. We need to make it longer for laundering, and then hey, we're going to track bills. Ooh, Claudette could be the leader of the barn. Well, if Vic's got all that money, then he's not going to be working for the barn very long. So then Claudette has no interesting story to line in the barn. Oh, what if we keep Aceveda around a little fucking longer? For what reason? Oh, God knows why. Just because he wants to start cleaning up crime? It's just like, God, we really fucked up the end of season. We need to fucking retcon that shit. It's literally Ryan Johnson directed Last Jedi, and fucking J.J. Abrams came in and goes, "What the fuck are we doing? Let's go back to the original. Let's end this shit." So I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, none of that shit from last season's gonna fucking matter at all right now, at all. So cool. It's fine. It's just annoying. Like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just going to create new problems. That's all.
I mean, but it also clears up those stories that we were worried about, because if that's the case, then how does the Shield exist any longer with Claudette being the leader and Aceveda leaving and blah blah?
Oh yeah, but Vic tells Tavon that they're going to tap Kern's phone without a warrant, and he's on board with it. It might be a little illegal, but hey, they'll run with it. The guys show up to sell guns to Kern, and Vic calls in for backup. The police raid the gun sale and arrest the dealers. Vic questions one of them, who says that Garza bought the Bizlat's guns. Vic once again has these great interrogation techniques that usually work out for him. Vic helps Kern go free, saying that he helped with the sting, and tells him that he will take care of the Bizlats. Aceveda won't sign off on giving Vic $100,000 for a sting operation to get the rest of the guns. And he's got a nice line. He was like, or you can just go to an ATM. So we get Aceveda's a little bit suspicious of Vic and his dealings. Kern and his crew do a drive-by on the Bizlats' territory, killing one of them. And the episode ends with Vic in the storage unit taking out a lot of the money from the money train stash.
That's going to go well. That ends up going well. Yeah, I didn't love this episode. I think it's a step down. It just didn't matter. The stuff we learned last season, which I think it's better in the hands that they're doing. Mm-hmm. But overall, it just...
They kind of painted themselves into a corner at the end of the second season, and they're kind of trying to work out of it.
They're kicking their way out of it without making it like. I think it'd just been more interesting if Claudette takes over and she can't control the barn right away, and she has Aceveda has to step back in. Something creating the thing. Mm-hmm. And also this, I'm gonna quit. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna quit. Hey, I'm gonna fucking leave. No, I'm gonna quit. Like, she doesn't she's like a kid throwing a tantrum. Like, she doesn't want to leave, so she says she's gonna leave, but she ain't fucking leaving. That's annoying. Dutch is becoming more and more annoying for me. I think it's situational. I think that everybody thinks he's funny. Like, he does these moments, but he's coming off very autistic right now, which is fine. He's very Prez in The Wire, just doesn't have any social cues whatsoever and just says whatever the fuck's on his dome, which he comes off creepy. But no, overall season one's fine. I just think this money thing is going to be a thing. There is an interesting storyline. We'll get more into it, but Vic's character is developing in an interesting manner. And I think that's the best part so far of season 3 and where that ends up going. Yeah. Mark?
I mean, either way, I think at least for the money train thing, I think the money train thing was going to happen either way. Like it's just like that was something that they clearly planned on. Like we got to throw something in there of like, okay, this is how Vic's going to be caught, and like, or he doesn't know what's out there, so whatever. I kind of like that Aceveda is sticking around just because like it. I don't. I feel I kind of like how the show portrays him as this. He's a guy that kind of wants to make a difference. However, he also really cares about how he looks to the outside, and like him going around stealing Claudette's ideas. Like, okay, like this is him playing the political game, and it's kind of funny, like watching a guy like, okay, like he wants to portray himself as good, but he's also, fine with just screwing people over and like, just kind of doing his own thing. I kind of at least like that direction, like they're taking with Aceveda. And at least I also think it's probably better if you keep him around as a foil to Vic. Like I think they tried doing that in season 2 of like having them work together, and it like worked until it didn't, like sort of. But no, like I think this was.
But then why make him a politician?
Well, I mean, he's got like what 3 months before he has to go and do that. So I mean, that's not going to be the whole season.
Is it?
Yeah.
You're promising? If you're promising me that, I like that. If you're not promising me that, fuck off.
Just based on what I know about, I don't think we're gonna deal with Aceveda for that much longer.
Well, you said something, but I kind of disagree. The money train wasn't always a guarantee.
I mean, we brought it up at the beginning of last season, and it's the one thing. Like it, I think if we got the full story that we are supposed to get in season 2, the money train felt like a thing that probably would have been the like kind of second story to them dealing with Armadillo.
Yeah.
It's possible that that operation was maybe supposed to fail.
Yeah. I think it's less interesting if it fails, and then they don't get the money, because now they have the money, and now we get to see how they screw up having this money, if that's what happens, or what they have to do with it. So I think that brings another interesting. It's got something over their heads this season.
Yeah,
and especially they don't know that there's marked bills in there yet, so that's going to create some interesting. Who knows?
Because it's the next episode when Aceveda tells Dutch that thing about Vic, right? Where he said, "Does Vic know? Keep it that way."
No, that was in this episode here. We just had Aceveda told him not leave Vic out of the loop on it.
Yeah, which again,
because Aceveda remembers that they talked about a money train earlier in the second season, and Vic's like, "Oh no, that was just a make believe thing."
Yeah, that's the line. Aceveda Aceveda has a hint that Vic has money, because when he's leaving, he says,
"Or you can hit the ATM."
And he's like, "You can hit the ATM," and they do that long shot on Vic's face of like,
"That's not a bad idea."
But it was like, what the fuck? What do you mean by that? Like, how do you know? Like, I know, like it's crazy.
And it might not be the money train. Aceveda probably just assumes that Vic has stolen all sorts of money and drugs.
100%.
But yeah,
he's corrupt as well.
That'll bring us to episode 2, Blood and Water, which we have Vic picking up Shane in the middle of the night. They're going to pose as neo-Nazis looking to buy guns. Vic isn't happy about Mara's new car that he notices parked out front. And Shane also isn't happy that Vic is using the money train cash for this deal. So a little bit of odds there.
We'll talk about this later. Is that the money from the score? Yeah, we'll talk about this later.
They visit Garza and offer to buy the guns from him. However, Garza and his men get the jump on the strike team at the deal. And a couple of knees to groins later, they take all their money. The next day, the strike team regroups with Tavon at the barn, and they discuss getting the guns from Garza. And Vic tells Kern he's upset that he's still going after the Bizlats, he tells Kern to back off because they're going to take care of it.
Every time you say that, I just think of Biznatch. But my, do they know? Hold on, I just had it in my head. Why is Vic so adamant about the guns?
Well, because Vic just doesn't want to have a whole bunch of machine guns on the streets.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be bad for his numbers.
Did we ever just seem as weird when fucking Vic puts on the Robin Hood cape and like decides to try to be a law enforcement officer? It's just fucking weird.
I think that's just his character, is that he just every once in a while needs to do something to remind himself, like, hey, I'm a good guy. I'll jump in a pool to save a baby.
I think he still wants to be a cop.
Yeah.
But he also wants other things. Like he's still just like he's completely fine with being corrupt.
Yeah.
But he does still want to protect the community.
And as we found out in last season, if Vic's not doing his thing, there's going to be kids getting drugs in schools and stuff. So Vic is necessary for the community to keep all the drug dealers on the straight and narrow.
That's fair. It's just always funny to me. Like, we got to get these guns. Why? What the fuck do you care?
And he doesn't like pedophiles. Remember that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, he apparently knows where both of the setups are, and they're still in business for however long. Like, why?
The strike team gets a warrant for Alonzo Wang, the dealer that delivers drugs to the Bizlats. They get him to call Garza and set up a drug sting operation. Garza sends one of his men's Diger to buy the drugs, but since Garza doesn't show up, they let him leave with the drugs, saying that they'll get the money later. Vic and Lem then pull over and detain Diger and throw him in a motel room until he either gives them Garza or the guns. Vic then brings Kern to the room and introduces him to Diger as the new Bizlat, or the Bizlat's new leader, and he orders them to kind of just draw up some territory lines, like, you guys are going to kind of work together here. Over there across town, the chief of police tells Claudette that she still has his support when Aceveda moves up, but she needs to practice playing politics. I love that when she first goes up to him and she's like, I've been trying to get a hold of you. It's like, I know, I've been avoiding your calls.
Just like, I promise you something not happening.
Aceveda insists to Claudette that he plans to clean up Farmington, but she notes that he has had 2 years to do so. He offers her command over the strike team and the incoming decoy squad. Julian and Tommy come across a scene with 2 dead bodies and one guy covered in blood. And this is the first time we've seen what those machine guns can do in a crime scene there. Like I said, the shooting was committed by one of the guns Vic is trying to get off the street. Dutch and Claudette show up to investigate. They question the shooting survivor, Esteban, and then go to visit the girlfriend of one of the victims. She thinks Garza had both of the people killed. Dutch questions Garza, who has an alibi for the shooting. Dutch and Claudette agree that Esteban saw Garza do the shooting, but he insists that he saw nothing. Dutch tells Vic that Garza is the prime suspect in the shooting, and Vic and Shane agree that their plan would work much better if they could get Garza on a murder charge. After the crime scene techs determined that the bullets came from a nearby balcony, they begin to think Esteban was the shooter. And I think that was kind of like a knock on CSI, which was coming out around the same time, gaining popularity.
Seemed like it.
Dutch interrogates Esteban and is able to get a confession out of him. Vic pulls Diger aside and tells him that Esteban gave Garza up, promising to send Garza to jail and protect him if he confirms that Garza ordered the hit. Diger confirms that Garza armed and directed Esteban to do the shooting. Diger then gives up Garza and the police arrest him. Garza refuses to give the location of the guns to the police, but he does use his one phone call to tell Diger, who then immediately tells Vic where the guns are. The strike team is also able to get their money back, but there's $20,000 missing. So $20,000 of the money train money is out there on the street somewhere. Corrine visits Vic at the barn, having got her new work schedule at the hospital, and she asks him to work around it. He is not happy about this, but hey, that's life when you get a divorce.
Sunday.
Julian and Tommy chase a criminal into an active church where the pastor watches Julian beat him while being arrested. The pastor submits an excessive force complaint, and Julian tells Aceveda he's doing okay. Aceveda tells Danny that she got her job back. Danny asks Julian about partnering with him again when she gets her job back, but he seems hesitant. Vic apologizes to Mara, but she believes that he's just trying to sleep with her. She wonders if his attempt to insert himself into Shane's life is because of his failure with his own family. So that they had a nice little talk there. Let's see. Claudette informs Vic that the decoy squad's imminent arrival and that she will have command over them. Vic confronts Aceveda, who cites his apparent failure with the guns and the warrant as justification for her taking over the strike team. And then in the end, we see the strike team taking a boat out to the ocean, and they toss the guns in the water. Yeah. So I guess that was kind of the means that they had of getting the guns. They weren't able to do it by the books. So as far as the police station's concerned, they didn't get the guns. So that kind of hurt them. But Vic's happy because he got the guns off the street.
I think the gun arc was stupid. Just dumb. Sure. I guess it makes sense, but doesn't make sense. Like, it just seemed out of the blue. And them doing it the right way, or whatever way they thought was the way, turned out to be worse for them in the long run. So good job following when you follow the rules, you get fucked over. This is just a week of people getting offered jobs, and it's not the way that they think their jobs are going to be offered. So that's cool. I thought it was an okay episode. Again, I like the character, so I'm not having a bad time watching it.
Yeah.
It's very similar to when your expectations put you in a bad mood when it doesn't go the way that you want it to go. So I want more from the Shield than what I'm getting currently, and that's what's frustrating, because there's a lot of great talent, and I thought we were going towards a direction, and we're just puttering at this point. So they got a long time. They got 15 episodes this season, so a lot can be done. So, and again, that's 2 extra episodes, so they can't go too hard too fast. So we'll see.
Gonna build it up.
Mark loves it.
That's all right.
I mean, it was okay.
He loves police procedurals.
I didn't hate this episode, but it does feel like we're doing a bit of setup. It does feel like we're kind of, getting back to the way it sort of was before. All right, Vic has an inn in one of the big gangs in his area. We're trying to get rid of this guy. I kept chuckling at the MP5 things, mainly because, I don't think anybody knew what an MP5 was until Modern Warfare came out. Nobody knew what the fuck that was. And, but yeah, whatever, he got the guns, batting them, whatever. I'm intrigued at the very least of what the political game we're gonna get. I'm kind of intrigued at the push and pull that is gonna be between Claudette and Aceveda. I'm curious where that's going to lead. It's nowhere yet, but that could be interesting. Other than that, yeah, okay. We're also gonna get the Vic's gonna have to work with some people, which I have a feeling not gonna go super well. It doesn't give off the vibe of that he plays well with others in the 2 seasons and change we have seen from him.
Especially if they're gonna put everybody in that one little room.
Yeah, that's fucking stupid. It's a fucking room. They got 8 people in there.
But yeah, so that brings us to episode 3, Bottom Bitch. Which, speaking of setup, Vic and Lem meet the decoy squad, which I guess the decoy squad is just kind of like a group of officers who focus more on kind of like undercover sort of sting operation stuff. Then we have Shane and Mara are in the middle of a fight, and she storms out of the apartment. Claudette tells the strike team and the decoy squad that they are going to be targeting prostitution. Claudette got that Cody was not enjoying the gun storyline, so we're going to move over to prostitution, see how that works out.
Appreciate it.
And she tells them that now they can actually show the goods in order to prove that they aren't cops. So that's a new development for the police. While Tavon is undercover with a prostitute, the strike team witnesses an assault between several other prostitutes. Back at the barn, one of the prostitutes, Farah, recognizes Vic from Connie's funeral and asks him for help, but he tells her that he can't help her. Farah then also talks to Claudette and tells her that she will help the police take down her pimp, Smooth. So Shane and Tavon go undercover in Smooth's brothel. They give Vic the signal. The police raid the place, but one of the prostitutes is able to flush all the drugs before they get in there. Claudette wants to continue working with Farah to get Smooth. Vic disagrees, but Claudette orders him to help out with it. So Vic tells Shane to give Mara some space and that she'll come back. And then we have another family moment with Vic where his daughter Cassidy is trying to pull a parent trap on him with the parents, but Corrine just tells Vic to leave. Farah tries to seduce Vic, but he isn't having it. Then we have her going and approaching Smooth while wearing a wire, and he gives her a chance to get her job back. However, she gets cold feet and says she's going to end up going back to Smooth and explaining everything that happened about her working with the police. Vic does not like that idea. He grabs her and put a gun in her mouth, telling her she's going to stick to his plan. Lem is a little bit disturbed by how he's seeing Vic behaving. But yeah, Farah ends up going back to Smooth, and the strike team is able to arrest him before he can hurt her. So Farah now thinks that she's in good with Vic and that he will protect her, kind of like he did Connie, but he's pretty much done with her and he kicks her out of the station. However, she decides to kind of stick around town, and now she's just going to start working with another pimp. Aceveda talks to a school superintendent who got picked up soliciting one of the decoy squad prostitute ladies with a bag of fun toys. The guy who has been supporting Aceveda with his election asked Aceveda to kind of just like make this kind of go away. Aceveda does end up kind of releasing him. Claudette calls him out for being a hypocrite. One of the new characters, one of the women from the decoy squad, has been kind of flirting with Vic a little bit this whole episode. Then later on, she kind of asks him for advice on being stuck between Aceveda and Claudette with this whole superintendent thing. And Vic tells her to stay on Aceveda's good side. Later, we see that Claudette ends up sending some police to go pick up the school superintendent. However, Aceveda made sure that the press was there to see it happen. So he pretty much kind of got to get the guy arrested without being, so he kind of got the best of both worlds. The guy gets arrested, but he gets to tell the guy, he's like, hey, I tried to help him. So
what was his crime besides having a giant thing called an ass invader?
Well, he was soliciting a prostitute.
Fair. And with
which
a bag
apparently
of
is still illegal. I don't
By
know.
the way, seeing Ass Invader was, I laughed so
it's
hard.
funny that Aceveda gets to pull the Accevator out of a bag.
That's true.
What a great name, Ass.
It's just like, yeah.
Like, what else could that be?
Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Dutch is investigating the robbery and rape of a 73-year-old woman. Dutch talks with the neighbors, and one of the neighbors informs him that their other neighbor, Paul Fetz, is a registered sex offender. So Dutch and Claudette question him, but he claims to be innocent. However, eventually Dutch is kind of able to break him a little bit, and he breaks down crying in the bathroom, telling Dutch that he doesn't want to be broken anymore. Although the confession doesn't really match up with the crime scene, the information's off a little bit. So Dutch ends up showing the victim a penis lineup, and she doesn't pick Fett's penis, so it kind of proves that he was innocent. However, Dutch questioning has done some damage to Fett's. It's almost kind of like Winter Soldier. He kind of activates him. And later he ends up calling the police station, telling Dutch that he's about to go rape a woman, with the neighbor who ratted him out earlier. However, Julian and Tommy get there in time to kind of arrest him in the act. Back at the barn, Julian celebrates with the other male officers and kind of dismisses Danny. Then we have Mara comes back to pack up her stuff. She gets in a fight with Shane again and ends up telling him that she's pregnant. So Shane, the gentleman that he is, asks her to marry him. Then we kind of cut to them having a party to celebrate with everyone there. I don't know if this is, I couldn't catch if this was like just an engagement party or if they actually just ran off and got married. That part wasn't clear to me. I guess we'll find that out as we go on. But yeah, everyone's there from the strike team except for Vic, who we see Vic went, I think, dealing with that prostitute kind of got to him a little bit. So he went to go and check up on Connie's son, who's in a foster home. And he tells the foster parents, that he's going to be checking in on him from time to time. And that's kind of the end of our episode there.
I think the one thing, I don't know if you touched on very much on it, but Vic's these 3 episodes, Vic's like intensity is becoming more and more. His rage is becoming more. Like that one guy, he's like blocks him off and is like, "Hey, I'll just say that you ran or you tried to take my gun and shoot him." He put the gun in her mouth and was like, "You're gonna tell me what's going on?" Like, you think you can just walk away? And like even the bar, like also fucking weird. What's the black guy's name that is in that they can't ever talk around?
Oh, Tavon. Yeah.
Tavon, but he puts her on the ground and puts his gun in her mouth and like in front of Tavon. I'm like, so we can talk about something, but you're literally just committing a crime, like trying like.
Well, I mean, he saw Tavon do some Russian roulette with a guy at the end of last season, so maybe he's starting to think Tavon might be a little bit okay with some stuff.
But then also, you put it in her mouth, and like I didn't like how she looked at him after he did that.
Yeah,
like,
she was.
Hey, like,
yeah,
I was like, wait a minute, no, this is bad. But like, he's getting into like the level of like, hey, we need to do this clean, but like the Hulk is trying to come out. Like, I don't know how long he's gonna be able to keep it. So I think that's the most interesting thing from these first 3 episodes, that he is becoming more and more unhinged, which I think could lead to some really interesting things.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I mean, part of it feels like it's coming out of left field a little bit, because like, why is Vic turning so crazy? Like, what? Like, I'm not 100% sure what is really the cause of it. It's just
I think it's just everything, all the stuff with his family that he's got going on, and then all the extra pressure of the money train stuff over his head.
They got the money. He's rich. Like, he doesn't know it's being tracked. Like, like, I don't know.
More money, more problems.
I don't know if that's making him, so upset, And like, is anybody else at the point where we're just kind of wondering, why isn't Tavon just a part of the crew? He feels like he's a guy that is completely fine doing things Vic's way.
Let me tell you,
like,
too,
zero pushback on anything.
He's the most. Well, I don't think he fits in the crew because he's got 3 brain cells in his head. The rest of them are idiots.
Well, we know Shane's racist, so
that's true.
and B, he's okay with some stuff. We don't know if he's okay with shooting a cop.
Listen, we're gonna go play neo-Nazis. He played neo-Nazi a little too well.
I love that when Tavon like comes in and everyone's like quiet. I was like, oh, did I interrupt your guys' clan meeting again?
Also, before Mark starts on Mad Men, when Mad Men started, did anybody else get PTSD flashbacks when we just saw the burner on the stove start turning red? I'm like, oh no! Wait, I was like, did I
Run,
click on
Betty,
the wrong?
run!
I was like, did I click on the wrong show? Like, what is this? But speaking of that, Mad Men,
Yeah,
Nice segue.
yeah. Let's
boom,
go all the way up
that's
here.
in the biz.
Yeah, let's start episode 1, season 3. Out of town. What could that possibly mean? Um, yeah, we start out with Don. He's heating up some warm milk for his pregnant wife. Uh, and as he's warming up some milk, I'm not 100%. I said reminisce. I'm not sure if I can say reminisce because like he doesn't remember any of this shit. Like none of this happened when he was alive.
What?
Of like his
Fucking weird.
He's got baby memory.
I hated this part of the episode. How the fuck? Like, and it was like, I don't know what they were doing. I don't know why. I don't care. There's a lot of reasons behind it. But the way he just looked around at different parts of his house and like different flashbacks came back of things he was not like
I mean, that feels like a
cognitive
story
of.
that would get told to him a lot, though. I love that his dick is named after an actual dick.
That's so dumb. When he said that when she kept referring that she's gonna cut off his penis or his dick and boil it in hog fat. We're gonna call him Dick. Nice. But I will let you continue. That was just so dumb.
Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah, those were the scenes. He remembered a moment where his stepmother had a miscarriage, where I guess he was conceived, born, and then dropped off at his stepmother's house. So that was a bunch of sequences in there happened. Yeah, they just like to play with these flashbacks. Yeah, and then after that, almost burning off the milk, he gives it to Betty. He tries to comfort her because she is very, very pregnant. Looks like at least 8 months at this point. Uh, Head into the office, and we meet a new character, Lane Price, who is the liaison that PPL sent to kind of be their man in the company. Yeah, I guess because we didn't see it, but I'm assuming Duck Phillips. That just didn't work
We
out.
get rid of
So
the lame duck.
yeah, he's just out of here. They get together for a meeting, and they are actually in the last stages of firing the people. And we actually get to fire a person we've never fucking met before. This Bert Peterson. I think we'd heard his name quite a bit, never actually saw him. And then, yeah, apparently they waited to fire him because his wife had cancer, and like, hey, we wait until then. Like Bert still doesn't really take it very well. He just starts yelling obscenities in the office and like saying things how England's like second best or whatever. Uh, so yeah, he's out of there. We do see a bit of
Roger's
tension.
showing up and being
Oh,
like, "Oh,
that's
that it was this meeting."
Oh,
Like
sad meeting.
he's fucking. And it is confirmed.
it wasn't easy.
Duck,
You hope you know that.
it's confirmed. Duck's gone, right?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
Yeah,
Duck's
he's gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Did I fucking call that? I was like, once they said, "Can we speak alone?" I was like, "Yeah, Duck, you're gone." They're choosing Don over you.
I am sad we didn't get to like see a scene of Duck getting told he's
Yeah,
gone.
that's kind of weird that they just.
maybe they shipped him back to England or something. Who knows?
But they don't leave it. They don't leave the episode with like any thought like he's actually gone. Like they don't really tie that knot, which is weird. So
Yeah, I feel like it's just kind of since they went in there and fired Bert Peterson, is like, all right, he's the last to fire. It's just implied that they just fired him.
yeah,
Like,
I
so,
just
like,
think Duck could have a good reaction with like Don or something. Like,
oh,
but it's not.
it's not finished having interactions. We'll just leave it at that.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Lane also has his assistant called John Hooker, and he does seem to have. There's a bit of tension, I think, with him and Joan, and and maybe partially with the other secretaries, because like he is sort of one, but he sees himself as above it. But you know, is for what it is. Pete, after Bird has been fired, has now been called into Lane's office. He wasn't super happy when his secretary just said, "Hey, Lane wants to see you in his office." It's like, what the fuck? You couldn't just pull me aside and say that. Uh, so yeah, he goes to the office. He thinks he's gonna be fired, but actually, he's being named head of accounts. Happy day. Good things happen to Pete. Good things happen to those who wait.
His dick was 12 feet long leaving that office. It was dragging the floor how confident Pete was.
Yeah, so he's really happy. However, not that long later, Kenny is also called into Lane's office, and he is told he will be head of accounts.
But
Lane
Mark, Pete is
tells him,
already head of accounts. How can there be two?
It was so funny when Pete goes back to his office and calls his wife. And she's like, "I'm in a brunch." "Oh, how are they?" "You've never cared before." "Well, I'm just the head of accounts." And then the part where she's like, "You sound happy or whatever." "I'm already drunk." "Good for you." This everybody in this thing has liver and lung problems so bad. It's everybody's smoking and drinking every chance they get. I've never seen one drink a glass of water at all. It's crazy. But go continue. Sorry. Two head of accounts. Beautiful.
Yeah, and they're told to keep it on the down low until they tell everybody. So
See, I thought he was trying to pull like a Tyrion where he told them both the news and he was going to see like who was out there spreading it.
Yeah. Nope.
Well, they almost did. They were in that elevator together. It's like, you know what? I just want you to know you were an inspiration to me. You too, pal. You too. So yeah, they're excited. Salvatore and Don are heading over to Baltimore for a business meeting with some raincoat people called London Fog. And Don gets mistaken for another person, and what do you know? Don just kind of goes with the whole like mistaken identity thing. Like it had his brother-in-law's name on a suitcase. He's like, ah, fuck it, we'll pretend to be somebody, and he pulls Salvatore in on it. It's like, why not?
He's never done that before, so that'd be weird.
They end up hitting it off with a couple of these stewardesses. They go out on a date with a pilot, and they pretend to be like these accountants, and they're asking them accountant questions. And like Don tries to hand it off to Salvatore. Like Salvatore is like, I don't know why you're pulling me in this, pal. I can't think on my feet. Like he makes them believe like there's some sort of G-men or whatever, but whatever. Like Don is just loving this, and just he's getting them to eat out of the palm of their hand. Goes pretty well. Don ends up taking one of these stewardesses up to his room. As they're heading up to an elevator with a bellhop that we see for a bit. There is but yeah, so they're going up there.
I think he'll show back up at some point.
Maybe. Salvatore does get up to his room, and the air conditioner is not working. So he calls Des and, "Hey, I'm hot as hell in here. Can you send somebody up here to help out with that issue?" They end up doing it. What do you know? The bellhop from the elevator shows up. He fixes
and he agrees that he's hot as hell. So
yeah, just like he goes to hand him some money, and the bellhop just like goes right for Salvatore's pants. He's very sensual.
He was aggressive.
I mean, what if he was wrong?
Let me tell you, yeah, what a shot.
That's taking a swing right there.
I mean, he kind of, you can kind of get that vibe. But let me tell you right now, this is just personal. This is not anything to dive into. If that room had no AC running and it's hot as fucking balls, you're going to have to come back in about 30 minutes before we ever continue any of this shit, because it's got to be the hottest fucking place of your life. You ever been to a stepping a foot in a hotel and the AC's not on? It's the muggiest thing you've ever been. So get your hand out of my pants, buddy.
It's also a bit of outrage. I'm like, I'm not paying for the electric bill in this place. Like, just turn on the fucking AC. Is stupid.
And talk about Salvatore's ultimate blue balls.
It gets so hot in there they trip the fire alarm.
What
That
do you know?
man looked like it was going to Disneyland. Like it finally happened. Oh, thank God! Another man. I've been holding this in forever. What the fuck? It's a fire alarm. Poor bastard can't get anything.
Mm.
Well, I mean, it happened to Don too. Like he was getting hot heavy with that stewardess, and like yeah, but he's able to gather up. They go out the fire escape,
Well,
and
remember, Don's good in an emergency because he's out that fire escape real quick.
God, she's holding her breath, and he's like, she's like, do
She's
you
like,
like
"What's
him?
that?" Don's already
What,
out the window.
do you like him? And look, what are you gonna say in that thing? Nah, not that great.
He
Ain't
could
no
get away with
January
saying
Jones, am I right?
that.
but yeah, like he seems to be on the same ladder or whatever as Salvatore. See Salvatore standing there. And what do you know? Like a shirtless bellhop just like runs in through, and Don is like, "Ah, shit. Yeah, get on out here, guy. Like we gotta get
That's some
going."
new info.
I
So
also like that the girl, like the one story is like when the stewardess and him were like making out. I have a fiance. This might be my last time. I've been married a long time. You'll have many more times. Crazy thing to lie. And then goes, and then convinces her with, "It's my birthday. Let me see your ID." That won't help you. That won't help. Like, yeah, because you're not who you say you are, you bastard. I love it. Sorry, continue.
I meant to say that too. Like it's totally skipped over that because it was like the totally scumbag move thing to say. It's like, oh, you're not like
You
don't.
can tell that I'm locked in on Mad Men very much because I know scene for scene right now because I love this fucking show. So
Yeah, so the next morning they go and have a business meeting. It seems to go well. Like Don and Salvatore are working well together. They talk this raincoat company off the ledge. Say, hey, like you'll be able to sell raincoats. 'Cause it's always going to rain, so whatever. Pete shows up to work the next morning, and what do you know? He finds out that him and Kenny will actually be co-heads of accounts, and Pete takes that about as well as we all expected he would. Uh, turns out, yeah, that they're just gonna, kind of battle it out and see like whoever does best will be the actual head of accounts.
you don't even want this. Kenny's like, they're wanting us to fight. I'm not gonna play into this. Like, where I'm not doing this. Like, I just love he pulls them both in there. And the British guy, of course, it's Jane just reading off it in the most calm, nice voice possible of all the different things that they're getting. He gets those. Do you want to explain why you don't get us? Because you're the reason the comedian called her the Hindenburg. Like, get the fuck out of here. Oh, great. By the way, two worse head of accounts that you could have picked in this show. If I would have thought for a second of who you'd name, those would be the last two idiots in the
Like,
office.
what has Ken even done, really?
Right. He got into a fight at one point with Pete.
He got into a
over-
fight. He wrote a magazine article.
Yeah.
Head of
What,
accounts.
like I've never seen him do anything actually good besides he was in charge of the Utz commercial and the comedian just ripped the owners. Like that's it. He's like those are the two least qualified people in the
They were throwing a darts at a name for the second person.
Because wasn't Don the head of accounts?
Originally, before he got promoted to whatever he is now, yeah. Then Duck stepped in, yeah.
I mean, I didn't think about that before. I
Sorry.
mean, they get into that later. Like, I think the show maybe somewhat agreed with you on that one. Yeah, Don and Salvatore are on their way back, and Don gets a sudden inspiration for what they can do for another campaign for London Fog. It essentially turns into his "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" speech over to Salvatore. Limit your exposure, if you will. Psychopath Salvatore actually did turn that into their campaign. I don't know why he did that. Yeah, Trudy visits Pete in the office. She tries to give him a pep talk. Tries to get him to, fight for the job. And yeah, Pete, I think is still a bit fired up. Goes into Don's office to, maybe try to throw a bitch fit or whatever. But he notices Roger was there, and he decides, whatever. I'll just be happy for the job. All right, cool. So he backs down pretty quickly. When Don got home, there was a thing where his suitcase was broken. Sally admitted to breaking the suitcase because she didn't want him to leave again. Tells her that he will always come home. And then there was supposed to be a nice moment at the end when Sally asks him about the day that she was born. And what do you know? Don could not remember. And Betty had to take over that story. And that is the end of Out of Town.
I love that Don remembers his birth perfectly, but doesn't remember Sally's birth at all.
Listen, he's a creative guy, he's just filling in the blanks. This is probably what happened.
My mom was a prostitute. She probably got mad at the guy. Dick, that's how it happened.
I am gonna say, I get, you guys don't like Pete. I just find it really hard just not to love Pete. In a lot of these, Pete is so awesome in this episode. I just get so mad about everything, and then just fighting with Kenny over some dumb shit. It's incredible television.
Pete is good television. He is a trash person. Cody is muted.
Yeah. So I'm with you on Mad Men wouldn't be as compelling if Pete's not in it. Don't mean I fucking like Pete.
Although with that, I find it hard not to be kind of on his side. Yeah, Pete, I want to see you get it. Even though he kind of sucks. I just don't care. I love the guy.
I mean, he got the job. He's getting promoted. He's getting paid more, and he only has to do half the work. I think that's a win right there.
That's what his wife's telling him. What the fuck are you complaining about? Prove that you can do it. They're testing you. I know. Why don't they just make the test already? Because you've never done this job before, dipshit.
Everyone knows you suck, so you gotta figure it out.
Oh my god! Your stance on defending, hating on January Jones and defending Pete has to be your worst qualities. He tells me a lot about you as a person, personal. That's fucked up.
I mean, listen, I'll be fine backing up Pete whenever he just, wants a job. And then we have another woman who will just hand random kids locks of her hair, and
Oh, that's where we're gonna draw the line.
But yeah,
great episode.
Hey, in
Great
20 years,
episode.
Betty and Gene would be a great couple. So we'll see
Yeah.
what happens.
I don't know. She's not loved at home.
Yeah. I mean,
Clearly.
Gene wouldn't cheat on her. So
he
we'll
made
see
her
what
some
happens.
milk. What are you talking about? He just he wanted her to get to bed. And he wanted to make her feel better.
Here, have some boiling milk.
I think he let it cool, and he took the little skin thing off. After he almost burned the house down.
He probably had another flashback to when he was a baby.
Yeah,
I think this was a good premiere. All the stuff with Don and Sal going on their trip, I think, is really good, and I do like the idea of Pete and Ken kind of competing with one another. I think it's a good setup for the season. And we didn't talk about him much, but Lane Price, I love that actor, so I think that's a good addition to the show, and that should be some good stuff.
I was so excited to see Lane in this episode. I love Lane so much. I'm very glad we're in that part of the show at this point.
Yeah. The show's incredible. I love this show. It's the one I look forward to the most every week. And it's got the least crime, so that's weird for me. I mean, there's a lot of crime, adultery. I'm pretty sure is a crime, but overall, it's a overall great show. I love the new intrigue of Pete and I wish it was somebody other than Kenny. But other than that, I think it's a really good show. So I think the episode is a great starter. It gets more fucking weird by the end of it, but we're fine. My old Kentucky home is fucking wild. It's a wild ride that we're on.
Well, Thankfully,
Does
we
Roger still get work? I'm just curious. All right, let's move on.
I mean, it's been, like John Slattery is not exactly a household name.
He didn't get canceled though, so
Well, looks we got one episode up before we get there. Yeah, we'll go into episode 2. Love Among the Ruins. We
Ooh.
then we start. I got a little confused on here. I think it was I know the product was called Patio. I think it was some diet beer or whatever the
like a
fuck.
Diet Pepsi sort of thing.
It was Diet Pepsi. That's what I wrote down. I thought
Yeah.
they said something about beer later on. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they want to do like a commercial that is basically just a rip off of Bye Bye Birdie, and just replace it, with like Pepsi or whatever. And Peggy definitely has her reservations. She definitely thinks the idea is fucking stupid. She won't use that language, but like that is 100% what she believes. They're gonna do it anyway. Um, they are also set up with. They have a meeting with these guys. They want to turn Penn Station into a giant stadium called Madison Square Garden. And Kinsey,
You think it's going to catch on?
I have no idea. Like, sounds like a silly ass name. Like a
Same.
But yeah, Kinsey like gets in a bit of a fight with these guys, and they because of that they believe he is their words beatnik, communist comes up. Pretty much any type of like a 60s like bad rhetoric you can think of, like those guys call Kinsey by the end of this episode. So they storm out of that meeting. Lane tells him that they lost this Campbell's account and Campbell Soup. And what do you know? Like pretty much everybody was like, I don't know why you're telling us. Like we lose accounts all the time. Like Bird is just annoyed he had to get out of his office. And like Roger and Don was like, "What? Like I don't set up these things." And Lane is like, "Well, what the fuck, man? I guess like if this is what we wanted, yeah, I guess we did everything right. Guys don't give a fuck when we lose business."
Maybe they should be happy Bert even comes into the office anymore.
Facts.
Yeah. Betty and Don also go out to dinner with Lane and his wife. Looks like something that they were planning. I know Lane is supposed to be like just this kind of good guy. He definitely gives off the vibe of like also just not like a particularly fun person. Like even with his wife, is like he's
No,
feel
just
like
so boring. Just shut the fuck up.
yeah. But Betty was she would have rather stay home. Like not into this at all. Like and Don was like, yeah, well, whatever. We got to do it. Come on.
Come on.
Yeah, on the way back, they're going home. Betty does tell Dawn that her dad's, I don't know, they're together. Dad's girlfriend, the person that we saw before, left him at some point, and it does seem like his health has gone a bit downhill, and he's coming over this weekend. Just because we just got to see how he is. Roger's daughter is getting married. And yeah, she says, "Hey, I don't want Jane to be at my wedding." Who would have saw that one coming?
Thanks for paying for it, Dad. Don't bring your child bride.
Yeah, that was kind of
Yeah.
how the conversation went.
Don't bring that. She's the same age as me. Like, Jason. You dog, Roger. You dog.
Yeah, Roger's like, "Well, I'm paying for this whole fucking thing, so I'm bringing whoever I want."
Be happy I'm not making her your maid of honor.
Yeah.
I love he sees the date too and goes, I'll tell Jane. Motherfucker. Jesus Christ. I love it.
After the bad meeting they had the Madison Square Garden people, Lane does task Roger and Dawn to have dinner with the guy and to try to smooth things over and to see if they can get back that account. Betty's dad arrives and he definitely seems unwell, kind of making it seem like he forgot that his girlfriend had left him, and that and also the son just seeming like a not a particularly great person. Uh, Don and Roger do meet with the Madison Square Garden guy. He does have one of his classic Don moments. It's like, hey, like you're doing this. It seemed to have a bit of a guilty conscience. You don't need to have a guilty conscience. You can just kind of make people hopeful about it. That's the way I felt like when I was in California. You know, as he said, and like if you don't like what people are saying, change the conversation. 100% hooks the guy in. They're able to have their go with this Madison Square Garden bid. Uh, Betty's brother does meet with her there, and they're saying, "Yeah, Dad's getting worse," and they want to just put him in a home. Yeah, like it's kind of where it's going. He definitely wants the house. Betty is like, yeah, like I know what you're doing here. You just want you just want this fucking house. You just want the money. You're kind of acting a bit shady here. I don't like you very much, and I think most of us can agree. Uh, let's just get that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, after the day after, Roger and Don meet with the Madison Square Garden people. Lane does go over to Don's office and says, "Hey, turns out we cannot get the Madison Square Garden thing, so just tell them we can't do it." Don is like, "Well, what the fuck? We did the whole meeting to try to, save them. You should have seen me in there. Like I was pulling some of my best shit." And then Lane was like, "Well, I told him what we were doing. It turns out we were spending way too much money on this, and they're just not going to do it." He's like, "Well, what the fuck, man? Why'd you guys pay for us either?" And Lane is there, is like, I don't know. so, so they leave off of that. Peggy then tries to convince Don the bye bye birdie thing is stupid. He's like, "Well, no, I mean, I get it. It's sexy, and it's gonna sell it's gonna sell some Pepsi. So like, I get where we're going. So
You
whatever."
must have loved those musical numbers in this episode.
I
I
mean, we
saw
saw
that
it
and
a
I was
lot.
like,
There was way too many times. I get
I
it.
saw Mark. I knew Mark was just tapping his fucking foot, enjoying the shit out of that.
I
Like,
get
yeah, bye, bye. You should see Mark over there. Yeah,
I get it. There's a birdie and it's going bye bye. All right, I get it. Right.
I saw that clip and I've seen the show, like the actual musical before, and I was just like, oh my god, Mark's gonna. And I was like, holy shit, this is going on a real long time. Mark's gotta be mad.
And,
Oh, they're playing it again.
and what do
And
you
then
know?
Peggy's singing into the mirror.
And,
That was the best
and
version, though.
what do you know? The storyline doesn't get tied up, so we're gonna see it again.
Can't wait.
At least
Yeah.
Don does agree that patio is a horrible name for a drink.
Couldn't agree more with that one.
So anyway, after a day's work, Don does get home. Um, sees something about Betty is still very upset and saying like, here's what her brother wants to do. Don basically just says, "Yeah, I've had enough with this bullshit." Calls Betty's brother into the room. He's like, "All right, here's what's gonna happen. You are going to Gene is gonna live with us. Uh, you are going to leave here tonight. You're not going to touch the house, and you're going to leave your dad's car here with us because your dad needs a car here, and you're going to go and tell your sister that this is your decision." And he's like, "Whoa, what the fuck? I mean, what is this bullshit?" It's like, no, no, no. Like this is the way it is. You're gonna go out there. You're gonna tell them this.
Thank you, Don. I'll take it under advisement. No, that's what's happening. Oh,
Don just put his hand on her shoulder, like, "Do you feel in charge?"
yeah.
That's a funny way to put it. Yeah, so anyway, that's what do you know? That's exactly what happens. Don just completely big dicks the situation. Uh, they go and tell Gene immediately what they're going to do. Gene, yeah, definitely does not take it so well. Utters a comment that, yeah, he should have gone first. And but, it is settled. He will be living with Don and Betty for the foreseeable future. Yeah, Peggy also goes out to a bar. I think wanted to feel like a sexual being or whatever. meets a guy there. Definitely seems kind of like a dunce, but whatever. She takes him home. Um, he tells her he doesn't have a condom. Um, looks like they still do some stuff anyway. So we know
We can
Peggy's
do
paying.
other stuff.
That
Okay,
that is very good character growth from Peggy. It's like no condom. Okay, we're not doing that.
already had a baby once. Not doing that again.
But willing to do other things, which I mean,
Yeah.
mine's racing after that. Like I was like, what does that mean? But
Well, I don't
anyway,
want to teach you the birds and the bees. But,
We'll save that talk for off call.
yeah, hop to it and spit on that thing.
but yeah, like so they share an awkward goodbye afterwards. So it's he is what it is. Probably won't see that guy again. And of course, later that night, Betty and Don are woken up when Betty's dad does believe it is the prohibition time, and he is dumping out all of their liquor.
That was funny because he's like, have fun with it. Good luck with it. Like, you don't even realize what you're getting into. And Dom's up and like, you got anything else? Make sure you dump it out. Like, Jesus Christ.
I'm surprised Don didn't shed a tear of all his booze being dumped down the sink.
I'm surprised Don didn't just call up the family and say, come back.
He has over $500,000. He'll just buy some more.
That's
and maybe
true.
invest in a lock in his liquor cabinet. But yeah, anyway, then pretty much last thing happens. His daughter is doing some type of field day, and they do like the little maypole thing, and they seem to have a nice day. And he also meets her teacher, and that more or less wraps up the episode. Then he goes to the
He's like,
office.
I'm gonna put a pin in her, and maybe something else later.
Yeah, he got a little too. He was a little creepy with him.
Yeah, it's a solid episode. I think it's definitely the weakest of these 3 episodes.
Correct.
A lot of setup stuff and the stuff with her dad and stuff. And yeah, that Bye Bye Birdie, that started getting to me. At least I enjoyed seeing Peggy doing it, but seeing it the 2 times, almost full length, was a little much.
I was tapping my feet. I was like, this is a great time. I was like, I love that I'm on this show with 2 musical lovers. This is going to be a good time. 2 people that love the Oscars and musicals. But yeah, it was great. I think it was a filler, but it was a good filler. Like I had no.
Yeah. So some character moments.
I never tire of seeing Don just laying down the law with Betty's brother. It's just a great scene. Love that party every time.
Don's like, I just want to get all these people out of my house.
Yeah, he's like, get the fuck out.
I just got done working with all these children at the office. Now I come home and there's like 6 kids running around.
I'll deal with this old man as long as I keep you guys out of my goddamn house. All right. Well, let's go into everybody's favorite episode of the evening.
Are you going to read the disclaimer?
I don't have it up.
Okay.
Like if you see it's all the episodes.
I guess you won't pull up the image.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you haven't seen the episode, please go watch it. You won't be surprised. You might be surprised a little bit.
It'll be a little bit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, episode's called My Old Kentucky Home. They are auditioning to find their Anne Margaret for this Bye Bye Birdie thing. And what do you know? In the middle of an audition, Kenny and Pete go in and tell Kinsey, I think it was Smitty. I think that's who that was, Smitty and Peggy, that hey, you guys are gonna have to work over the weekend to work on this Bacardi account because they want a whole bunch of other stuff and we don't have a lot of time. So that's what they do. Jane shows up to the office, and what do you know? Like her and Joan still not on great terms, apparently. Share a bit of a weird moment in the office.
No.
Gene and Sally. We see Gene and Sally spend some like nice, grandpa daughter time. Is there she's reading a book. I don't know what book she's reading. Anybody catch what book that she was reading?
Definitely doesn't
definitely
sound like a book she should be reading. But...
no. I mean, but she's up in those reading skills. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that. Like
definitely.
she's definitely reading a couple grade levels up. Yeah. Like I mean, Grandpa just want to make sure she knows how do the things. All right. Yeah. And like so, we get to the weekend. Peggy, Kinsey, and again, guessing it's Smitty. I don't remember his name. It's Kurt or Smitty, one of the two guys. Uh, they're working over the weekend, and Kinsey is like, "Man, sucks being in here. It'd be a lot better if we had some weed." Uh, I got a guy from college, like he's got some weed. Let's bring him in here and like get some weed. Uh, when Sally goes to find Gene, try to hang out with him. Oh, what do you know? She sees his money clip lying around. It's like, I like some money, and she takes $5 from the money clip. Joan and her husband are also hosting a dinner party for a couple of his doctor buddies. Um, they get in a little argument about who sits at the head of the table, and there is that. Also, yeah, and what do you know? Before Don and Betty leave for Roger and Jane's wedding, that is where the titular event that they're heading to. I don't know if it's titular. I don't know why I said titular, but that's where they're going. Roger and Jane's wedding. And what do you know? Gene is like, "Hey, somebody stole $5 from me," and everybody's like, "God damn it, Gene! It's your goddamn dementia. You didn't have $35. Like Don, just give my dad $5, like so he can stop saying he lost $5."
I love his like, oh, you think money can solve every problem? It's like it can solve this particular problem.
Yeah, it can solve right now. Like I would like it to be done.
So yeah, so they leave him in his anger. Uh, yeah, and what do you know? They head to the wedding, and what do you know? There's a lot of clients there, and like Pete is telling Don about all the clients that are here, and like Don is like, "Hey, just don't hand out your card, and try to do your best to schmooze these guys, if you will." Uh, Peggy, who was not quite in on, who was not in at first on the weed smoking because she was out of that room, goes to the boys' office and sees, hey, they're smoking weed. She's like, you know what? I would also like some weed. Let's get stay in here and get high together. While her secretary vehemently disapproves of the whole situation.
Shame for shame.
After she canceled her weekend plans to be in there with Peggy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just like get the fuck out of here. Like,
Just like, I did not ask you to do that.
yeah, I was like, I don't know what you're doing here at all. You just go home. Same amount of work's gonna be done whether or not you're here or not. Like, so you just leave.
Yeah, like why the fuck you here? Cool.
Yeah, and then we're sitting over here at the old Roger Jane's wedding. Everybody's having a good time, and Roger reenacts a scene from Bamboozled, and just does a bit of casual blackface, if you will, like for his wife, who seems to be really loving it for some reason. Like entertainment was different in the 60s.
Yeah.
You just have to know that it's a different time, everybody. Uh, but yeah, everybody also, although most people seem to like not be on board, everybody was watching it and going, "Man, what the fuck is this?" Like Don
I'm
was like,
sure all of our grandparents did the same thing. It's okay.
I mean, it just made Don thirsty. Because Don heads over to the bar for a drink, and he meets an interesting fellow, and he ends up striking a conversation and making an old fashioned for him, and like having a good time. Ends up finding out his name is Connie, who uh, played by Chelsea Ross of all people. Nice to see a good old Chelsea Ross uh, sighting here. Kenzie then gets into a bit of a guy argument with his buddy Graves, the guy who brought over the weed, telling him he can't sing and such. And then Kenzie starts singing, and they start bro hugging. Very, very way how guys just
Really
end
fucking
arguments.
weird.
Uh, Bet- Betty then gets in a conversation while waiting for Trudy in the bathroom. Meet some guy like who I guess just wanted to feel her belly. just what he's into.
She's got to stop putting herself in these awkward fucking positions. Like, Jesus Christ.
She needs the buddy system at all times.
Abs, like, what the fuck you doing?
I mean, she could have stayed in the bathroom. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
unless there was like 27 people in there. Like,
I
whatever.
mean, Trudy might have been stinking it up. Who knows?
Possibly. And what do you know? Well into the night, Gene is still upset about his money. He's had people searching the house. I like he never actually accuses Carla of actually stealing the money. Well, at least give a good old Gene that. At least it feels like Gene has kind of known this entire time who has stolen his money. Is like Sally the whole time has been like ridden with guilt. Definitely pulls a little hackneyed scheme to give Gene back his money, doing the old quick throw into the kitchen. Finds it, and yeah, everybody's just kind of sitting there. It's like, yeah, I guess you stole it, whatever. Betty is improperly introduced to her random belly toucher. It is a man called Henry Francis, who is a person who works in the governor's office. So he is doing up there. There's also a bit of a Charleston dance thing. I guess that's this was entertainment back in the '60s. We saw the true Charleston being done by Pete and Trudy. You can give Pete a lot of shit, but that motherfucker, he can dance. I'll tell you that.
That was the most cringe thing I've seen in like as long as I can remember. And he dragged Trudy into it too.
What? She was
how bad
she was having a ball. She was doing the moves too. Like she's smiling ear to ear.
I think it's just seeing Pete smile like that. It haunts me. It's a nightmare fuel right there.
Just don't want to see my boy having a good time.
I like him in the office with his rifle, just like contemplating life. That's the Pete I like.
Same. The hopes to turn that rifle up at some point, or BB gun it that Mark thought it was.
I mean, who buys a fucking we don't have to rehash this. It's like who buys a gun at a J.C. Penney?
This is the '60s where it's okay to do blackface at parties. You can buy a gun at Sears,
and that you practice it at home before you go back out.
Like he's also in the middle of the city too. What the fuck is he gonna do with a goddamn rifle? Like,
I got at least one idea.
You're asking the wrong questions.
Anyway, after they have been stewing in their, marijuana gaze or whatever, Peggy then does finally get some creative juices going. Even though Kurt, or sorry, I think it was Smitty. Smitty is trying to kick some game, but Peggy's got her ideas now. Tells him and Kinsey, "Hey, you guys can go home. I think I got this." Then after that, Peggy has a bit of a confrontational moment for secretary. Peggy's like, yeah, you don't need to worry. Okay. Like, I'm miles ahead of you here. Okay. I got my name on the door here. I'm going to be fine. Just set up my thing. Give me a glass of water so I can finish this work and, I can get the hell out of here. Yeah. Then, after that bit, go back to the dinner party with Joan and her husband. There then seems to be a bit of a weird moment where her husband kind of failed at a thing. He tries to really change the subject by having her play her instrument, which is an accordion of all things. The last thing I expected him to pull out of the fucking closet was this giant ass accordion that I guess Joan just knows how to play. Like the last thing you would think like a hot girl would know how to play is an accordion. It just feels weird.
See, I'm mad that we had to sit through Bye Bye Birdie 3 times, but we only got to see Joan playing that thing once. They should have switched.
Let me be real honest with you. No one believes that for a fucking second. That's the fakest thing that's happened in this show.
Yeah.
You should play for him. I was racking my brain what instrument is about to pop out of that thing. Accordion, fuck no. clearly the biggest breasted girl in her entire life class ever. Like,
She probably
there's
learned when she
no
was
way
younger.
that hot of a woman is playing the accordion. Nope, no, I don't believe it. Not a clue. The one that could literally make half the men in that office fall to their knees, she is not pulling out the accordion and singing. Fuck off. No.
She's
She
like,
hadn't had
what's
to
the
work hard
one
her
instrument
entire
that would be a
life. She just
challenge for me to look hot while playing? Okay, I'll give it a shot.
also, I don't like her fiance slash husband or whatever he is. I
Slash
don't.
rapist, yeah.
He
no,
sucks. He
none of us.
sucks.
No
Apparently, he's
question.
done something wrong in the
He was
medical field
unanimous
too.
bad guy last week.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
he sucks. The way he looks at her, I'm like, you piece of shit. Like, he makes Pete look great.
Yeah. Well,
If I had a
have-
gun and I had one bullet and Pete and him were in the room, I'm shooting him, which is sad because Pete deserves one too.
I mean, I thought you would have tried to get him like in a line or something. Like you put that guy in front, like you get
That's
right
a good
behind
point.
him.
That's a good point.
Like, yeah. So anyway, we cut back over to Gene. Sally goes to say goodnight, and then Gene is like, "Yeah, get in here," and like it seems like he's about to give her a bit of a, so you what's, in there. But no, he just pulls out the book again. He just asks her to keep reading the book. So he has goes in there, just decides to just not acknowledge that like she stole money from him and just go past it. We go back to Roger and Jane's wedding. Jane looks about as drunk as we'd ever seen a person in this show, which is quite saying a lot. She is falling all over herself. Roger then confronts Don, saying like, "Hey, man, what's the deal? Like, why don't you like her? Why don't you like me anymore? Like, what's going on?" It's like, "Because this is fucking stupid, man. I don't know why you left your goddamn wife." And he's like, "Ah, you guys don't want to see me happy here." It's like, and Don was like, "Yeah, nobody thinks you're happy. All right, everybody just thinks you're foolish. Okay, like no, nobody's buying it." So yeah, then
And why isn't she eating?
I don't
Is that a later story? It's got to be something because she said it twice now. I just keep getting smaller and I haven't eaten. She got eating disorder. Is this what we're going through? She's on a strict diet of whiskey and bourbon. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. But
I mean,
and
she looks
also, fuck off. Like, Roger's one of the dumbest human beings possible. One has openly tried to make advances on Don's wife in his own house, and then in a full party, his drunk wife is grabbing at him, and he's like, "What is this?
What are you doing, Don?
What is he gonna do? Pulling his dick right there and like fuck her? Like, what are we talking? It's in a public. You're so stupid, Roger. God, he's so have another heart attack. Like, what are we doing? Get the fuck out of here."
but yeah, like they end off the night dancing. That is more or less the end of my old Kentucky home. That was the name of this episode. Yeah, guys talked a lot about it. I don't know if anybody's got anything else. But
Yeah, we pretty much ran it, but it was a weird episode. It was a weird fucking episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's on paper. A lot of this stuff shouldn't be like, oh, we're gonna have to work over the weekend. We're gonna get high. It's like, oh, it's the party and stuff. But I think they managed to do a good job. They pull out some interesting character moments with some of the stuff. I love the line when Don's with that guy at the bar and he's like, "Oh, I'm at work disguised as a party." He's like, I've been to plenty of those. But yeah, so overall, it's interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. It's weird, but it was a good enough episode too.
I kind of like where at least like this is kind of. I think this is kind of the first episode where we kind of are seeing a bit of rift in between Don and Roger. Something that's gonna, I think it's gonna be pronounced like as we go on further. But I think this is kind of the first time where they openly admit it, and we kind of see it in front of us here. Something to just to kind of it's something to fun to see, going forward. Yeah, and Pete can dance. Yeah, also that too. I like to see that.
No.
Okay, ready to go?
Yeah, let's go to
This
Jersey.
is this is a weird. This is going to be a weird week of Sopranos because there's not a whole lot that overall happens. Um, it's basically like there's a central theme, and that's what we feature basically in most of the episodes. But we'll get started. Regino's neighborhood. Episode one's basically some time has passed, I assume, a little bit. I don't know how much time has passed, but like they know Pussy's gone. They're setting up a new operation for surveillance. The main thing of the first episode is FBI surveillance on Tony's house, working on getting a warrant into his basement because that's where Pussy's like he'll pull you outside there or in there because that's he doesn't feel comfortable talking inside the house. So they're working on that. So that's the main crux of this episode. It's kind of like a race against the clock to get the wire set up, and they're like, "You want us to just install without him home," which personally seems very illegal. I don't know. Like, I understand a judge signed off, but you can't break into another person's home and set up wire without like. That's like highly illegal. I don't
Why
know
not?
how it.
We watched 5 seasons of The Wire. We've seen them do this.
But they
Oh,
had to
wait.
get actual like people in, and you can only record. They follow the rules of the Wire, but it's still fucking. You can't break into a home.
FBI's got different rules.
I stopped myself before saying this. I was about to say this is a post 9/11 world, Cody, and then I looked up the release date of this episode. It in fact was not.
It was
Well,
not.
this is when the government knew it was
breaking
coming, so.
Yeah, so it's a weird time. But they're end up there and they're like surveilling everybody in their situation. So they got somebody with Tony, they got somebody with Carmela. The maid is apparently studying for a fucking citizenship thing. They got somebody
There's
at
some
Bert.
great moments where like the husband's like, yeah, I couldn't give less of a fuck about this.
I love in shows when they do the citizenship test, and it's all questions that I would not be able to answer.
I was nailing them. I don't know about you, but I was like, let's go. But they got somebody up in Georgetown with Camilla. They're watching the sun. They're doing everything, and they're like looking through. We have a dinner at the club, and it's Tony's just like they're sitting there with the twin brother that got whacked, and he's like, "You're acting all sad, like you know what?" Like, and then Walnuts is like by far one of the best characters in this show. He's like, you know why you ever have your shoelaces a little wet? It's because when you walk in the urine, oh, shut the fuck up with fuck.
And I love that Tony just wants to move on, but Christopher keeps like talking about the stuff with the other twin and stuff.
And then he's like, you're with us now. Be happy or commit suicide later. Whatever you need to do. I'm joking. Just like Tony not being able to read the room. They're like doing the surveillance inside the home, and they like notice that, like his hot water heater's like rough and like about to like bust. Wow,
too bad we can't warn him about it.
Yeah, too bad we get warned about it. Then we get like some different family aspects, like Camilla. The perviest fucking tennis lessons that you've ever seen. Like
on both sides, like the FBI agents just glaring at her the whole time.
And then the girl that clearly just wants to.
Too.
Yeah, like they must have put in the script like, hey, I need you to like wear nothing but wear something. Like, I want to see your nipples. I want to see every outline of everything. Just please come down to the thing.
We're gonna have this tennis instructor just fall in love with you immediately.
Yeah, and like she's gonna.
Carmela's just there. Is like, hey, can we learn some tennis or something?
Carmela, go pick up some balls.
Yeah, tells the wife of Tony Soprano to go pick up balls. I was like, bold strategy. AJ is being a punk kid, smoking cigarettes, leaving school. Like, the different things start happening. They're like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Like, we got to get. We only have certain time to do this. Carmela's roommate Meadows' roommate, like, shows up and like drunk off her ass and like one of the most awkward things ever, just strips down basically and then just falls asleep. Okay, cool. Glad we touched base with Meadow. they're noticing the water heater, and basically everybody starts like rushing home, and they're like, "You got to get the fuck out of there." They end up getting out of there, and the water. Well, it's weird because they couldn't. Can they not do the wire the first day? Like they get through to figure
Well,
out
the
where the
first day
place.
they're actually like taking all the pictures of the basement so they
Right.
get everything in fair order. They're going to put the wire and stuff,
So
and
then
then they
when
have to go
they
back.
so when they go back on the second day, they end up like going through everything, and it ends up like phone calls start ringing. They start going, "Oh my god, what ended up happening?" Well, the whole basement flooded. The whole basement, like fucking, well, the water heater went out, which they said was going to happen. While they're like racing home to like get through God, this tennis scene too is obviously like it's three scenes of the most pervy people. Like these FBI agents haven't been laid in like ever. um we get this weird clip of with Meadows' roommate dealing with anxiety, so we get to learn a little bit about that. That twin brother basically believes that, I think he thinks like that Tony like had a
Tony was
hand in like
involved, yeah.
involved, and he's like, "I'll tell you, I'm not like whatever."
Well,
And
he
he's
did.
pissing in a pool. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did. He
he
100%
goes to
did.
go kill him.
I
He's
mean, he
got the
did.
gun, and the FBI guys are like, "What should we do?"
Yeah.
And then he can't do it, so he just pisses in the pool. The poor pool, so
Yeah,
nothing to nobody.
he ends up pissing in the pool. It's one of those really cool scenes where they're doing the wire at the end, and they like turn on the thing. And he's like, "Hey, I got a job for you. Believe me, I'll compensate you pretty well." Blah blah blah. And they're like, "Oh shit, we can only touch back in 2 minutes." It's about the water heaters. There's like no, it's not criminal in any aspect. But he's basically talking about putting the new water heater in there. Um,
And I love the like the maid's husband who's like, "I used to be an engineer in my country, and now
oh
you want
yeah.
me to fix a water heater."
Um, that's basically what ends up happening. I may have missed some stuff, but what were your guys' thoughts overall on that episode?
I think this might be my favorite episode of The Sopranos.
Really?
Yeah, I love this episode. I love the whole. It was like a heist episode with the FBI guys, and I love like how they had the different music for each character as they were going through. This is where we get the "I don't want to do your dirty work no more." I love that.
Yeah.
And then they have like
I
the
don't
the
want
old TV
to
show
your
cop music for the FBI guys, and then they end up mixing the songs together and stuff when they're getting close to each other and stuff. I love the tennis stuff, was great. And then of course they called the hot water heater, then it explodes and ruins all their plans and everything. And then by the end of it, it's like we're watching an episode of The Wire again. So yeah, I just had a ton of fun with this episode. I think it was cool to kind of see the Sopranos and the characters kind of from another POV, kind of something from the outside, and seeing how kind of incompetent these FBI guys are. Kind of explains how the Sopranos have been able to get away with all this stuff for so long.
It wasn't ever like hard to press like of an episode, but it was fun. Like I'm a love heist movies. I love the
Yeah.
idea of like it. And when it was all breaking down, I thought it was a lot of fun episode. I don't know if my favorite, but again, we're only here. But I definitely get what you're going with, because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm with Matt too. Like I fucking love this episode. It was
Yeah.
great. It I think
What's
it
it on
very
IMDb?
easily could just been like an all FBI thing of them
Mhm.
just kind of showing like this
Mhm.
like this how like, and also showing just in general just how little they have on their operation, and how honestly it's dependent on basically like two witnesses, is dependent on Pussy and his mom,
Yeah.
which see what happens there. I mean, but no, just like I am here for every little element of this. I love the whole Patsy thing. Like he's still holding a grudge against Tony, and
Mhm.
he almost kills him in his pool area. I'm there for just the whole sexy tennis stuff of like everybody in there is just all horned up, like amazing. And then you have like this little cherry on the top element of like Tony
Bunch of
knowing
perverts.
where Tony knowing where all the FBI guys are and like just waving at him like every time he passes.
That was funny. He's like, "Hey, I'm just going here. You don't have to follow him." Like,
I'm gonna save you guys some gas.
Save you some gas. I'm all doing this.
And even like the night where like they actually put the lamp in his house, like he waves at the guy sitting in the fucking like phone company van. He's like, God damn it, he just made me.
I also when that truck like squeals out of the thing and Carmelo like falls right behind him, like that car is leaving drastically fast. Like I would be like, what the fuck?
Like, we're the only car down this block. He's going like 45. Like,
yeah, he's booking it. Okay, you want to go to one of the most awkward episodes that ever happened? For everybody's sake, I'm not going to even pronounce what the episode's called. Main crux of the thing is so shocking. Tony faints again. The episode basically starts Tony's fainting, and then Carmelo walks in to like see if he's okay and figures it out. And then with the funny reverse, like, "Ooh, what happened prior to this thing?"
Momentum must have just come out.
What happened prior is Meadow was home and brought a mixed African American boy home.
what?
Tony
Tony's
don't like
house?
In
Tony
her
don't
father's
like
house?
Tony don't like black guys, black people. Pretty racist. We find out a little bit more about Tony, how much he hates black people.
He
so
likes
Meadow
them as long as they stay over there.
Correct. Meadow walks upstairs and he's like, "So what are you? What do you mean? Are you Jewish? What'd you mark on the application?" "Oh, African American." That's what I thought. Like, I'm gonna do this. Listen, I work with some black people, and they don't want Meadow dating them, and I don't want you dating them. What the fuck are you saying to me? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna drop her off. You're gonna say goodnight, like we're done, and we're all. Oh, you can't fucking talk to me. That's what I didn't want to happen. That's not what I wanted to do. But let me tell you, it ain't happening. So he ends up slamming, and Meadow ends up leaving. And then one of basically he goes in, he eats some gabagool, some fucking deli meat and collapses, and like which also there's a moment that comes later that the therapist connects, and I just this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
It's
And
maybe like the funniest thing I've ever seen. I gotta be honest. Like, we'll get to that.
yeah. And then the most awkward scene. I understand why they had to make the decisions they made, but
I don't.
season 2 and then season 3, the actress that played Liva Soprano died, so they had to do a CGI scene, which looked it up. So it happened. I said that looked weird. So I rewound it. I said that looks really bad now that I'm to it. I looked it up. She did die. They had to fill in the last scene because the whole theme of it was the battle between her testifying and not testifying against her son. That was going to be in this season. Basically had to wrap it up real fast because she did die. And they spent $250,000 to make that scene happen.
Oh, that was money laundering right there.
They should get that money back.
They should have just like filmed her from the back the whole scene and just had a lady sitting there with a wig.
That's basically when you hire somebody to do a job. You're just like, what did you do? Like, please write me the check.
There was a Wolf of Wall Street moment happened in that like special effects department. $250,000.
What are these? What is the scene cure cancer? That's the secret. It did.
Yeah,
It did cure cancer.
Like when you see the scene once it's done, you'll know where every dollar.
When I read $250,000, I was like, Jesus Christ. that guy that did this got $230,000 in his pocket, and he spent $30,000 to do this.
Yeah, this is like 7 or 8 years after Jurassic Park. They could have
Yeah,
made that better.
so it's very mind blowing, like how bad it really looks. But basically tells her to not do this. By the way, question for you guys: did you either one of you log Public Enemy? Because I'm pretty sure I saw the whole movie in this episode. I don't know what I'm missing for context wise,
This
but I got
episode of Sopranos will definitely help me answer a trivia question at some point.
think if I ever get a Public Enemy question, I am set. Basically writing the Rico, like the whole Rico act. I understand Tony Soprano is a horrible father at times, but he makes me laugh more than anything. Meadow walks in and goes, "Did you say anything to Noah? If you're smart, you'll hit those stairs." Just like instantly, like, it was so funny. Like, he's like, she's mad at him because he said something. And then he says, like, one of the most racist things, like, "What, you didn't hear me? What if I say in Swahili? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, go." And then Carmela hears it and goes, "Hey, Meadow, I need your help up here, blah, blah, blah." Like, gets out of there.
What a fucking
And
asshole.
then, yeah, he's so bad. He goes outside and, like, moves the sprinkler, which I don't know what that was for. I don't know if it was aiming towards something or he had a fucking crazy smirk on his face, but it didn't actually go anywhere. He gets inside. He walks inside. Meadow, AJ, and Carmela are sitting there. It looks like it's about to be an intervention. Like, you've been eating too many deli meats. You need to sit down and, like, calm down. Nope. Turns out she's dead. So she dies. He's like, they're like, Meadow is so funny. She looks at him, "I'm sorry that your mom died. Not that I'm sorry for anything else. Fuck you, Dad. But, like, sorry your mother's dead. She loved you, kids. She fucking loved you." He just does, like, the thing. Like, so she's dead. They're doing the thing, and so he's, like, planning all the funeral calling. I still think it's funny because, like, he calls him, yeah, it is what it is. The sister's crying. He's like, "Yeah, she'll be fine.
What are you gonna do?"
She didn't want a funeral. Yeah, we'll get a small urn. We're fine. It is what it is." Calls Janice. Janice is like got like a 19-year-old boyfriend or whatever, and is like, "Can I come over?" "The fuck no! You're getting one plane ticket. You're getting your ass here. Like, you can be here. I'm not good with funerals." And he's like, she's like, "I also shouldn't be back in New Jersey. That case is fucking as cold as anything. He's in the witness protection program. Shut up and get back here." So, yay, Janice returns. Joey Pants joins the cast of, right? Is that that's Joey Pants, right?
He brings a nice
He
wig with him
joined-
too.
Nice wig, nice wig. He joins the family basically. Basically, Janice and the family are like going against her wishes about a funeral or anything. Janice wants to have one, wants to have a eulogy, wants people to talk, blah blah, for your mother. And Tony's like, "Tell me what the fuck I owe, and I'll write you a check, whatever. Get the fuck out of here." But basically, Joey Pants is a part of, like, the sanitation business at some point, right? Like, takes over.
Yeah.
Like,
he was a part of Richie's crew, and he's kind of the one.
He's kind of taking over Richie's crew. Yeah,
he's Richie's crew. I love that Dr. Jennifer and Tony, like, sit there and talk about it. It's like, "Hey, she's dead now. Like, is this over? Like, we could just end this. Like, what's the point anymore?" It's like, well, I think there's still stuff to work out. One of the most egregious products placements in anything I've ever seen in my life happens in this episode. They are outside an Office Depot, and it is the most blaring sign possible. The man walks in to get in there, and he's like, "Hey, we need some supplies. Let's just go to Office Depot." Like, gets in the car to exit the car to say about Office Depot. You might as well just gave me a 30-second commercial slot in the middle of stuff. So I was like, this is pointless.
It seems to have worked out well for him.
Yeah, they're thriving. Janice is in the house, like doing. I don't know what she was doing when Tony
She's just
arrived.
like
Hidden hammer
going
and
through
stuff?
stuff in the basement. It's like, oh,
Like-
she kept all your schoolwork and she didn't keep none of my schoolwork.
I think it was a minor callback because I think there was a bit where Livia was just kind of fucking with her, and then
Oh
she
yeah,
said
she's looking
something
for the
about
money.
keeping like money or like gold like in the wall or something. So I
I
think
think
Janice
oh,
is
yeah.
trying to
Peter
find
hinted
like
that she's
some.
got
She's
like
got
money in
yeah,
there.
she's got a cup and she's hitting it to see if anything's
She's
hollow.
trying to find
She
like a
gets
false wall.
yeah, and then ends up getting there and find like going through and it's like, do you think a closed casket? Yeah, closed casket would be good. Holds a picture, does all the shit. They do a whole funeral procession. It's just an awkward like because you can sense that no one fucking liked her at all.
I do love that the FBI sent flowers though.
Yeah, that was great. They're so they end up doing the whole funeral thing. Cuts back to um Joey Pants is like instructed by Tony to take care of somebody with the whole trash thing, and Joey Pants in the group shows up with bats and just like Tony and beats his ass.
Tony said no more fires.
Yeah,
No more fires, boys.
And like he pulls it right behind him, and they just shake his hand like no more fires. It's like, oh god. So they take care of him. And then there's a family back at the whole thing. Then we get another scene with Livia in the hospital with what's his name, the chef.
Oh, the chef guy, yeah.
Artie.
Yeah.
Artie.
Yeah, and he's struggling with that. But then it's this awkward thing at the funeral between like the housekeeper and Janice is like, hey, I live there. Oh no, but I'll be moving in. And these records, yeah, she gave me those records. They better be returned to my house like immediately. Like you're gonna steal my mother's record? No, I don't want to respect it. I want to respect her wishes. Like she gave them to me, blah blah. So Janice is back and causing a bunch of fucking shit. They're all sitting around at the house having a little party, and fucking Janice like calls everybody into the great room, which she calls it, and like gives a let's all have speeches, and everybody's like trying to search for words. Calls on AJ, and AJ's like, I don't know what the fuck to say, and then like Carmel's like, let it go, and they're like trying to battle, and like he's the one guy's like starts to say something about her, and like that's it, and like Janice like looks at her, is like, what the fuck else? And then Carmela with the fucking MVP. I'm broken on this. I don't know what to do. I want to be a good example, but this woman was contested, like caused so much division. No one liked her. The reason why she didn't run a funeral because she didn't think anybody would fucking show up. Like she's an awful person. Like, and then the one lady's like, "Stop talking." And the husband's like, "What are you, the queen of propaganda? This woman caused so many problems. She divided a family." You all never listened to anything she ever said at all, and this is the one time you break her wishes. So she wants nothing to do with it. So fucking idiots. Like one of the best parts is just like where they finally just break at the end and just like, I'm done. Like this is, and then we end with watching Public Enemy. So. They had to work on the fly, basically, kind of similar to what the Shield had to do in the previous. A death happened, and they had to close the storyline. I think they did a good job of closing it. I honestly wish. I'm glad they stuck to their guns and was like, "This woman was a bitch. Like she was awful. We're gonna treat her as awful. No problem. Let's just do this." So it worked.
I'm definitely gonna miss Cody's impression of Mama Soprano, and her going down the stairs on that the chair thing. That was always great for a laugh.
Cody, you don't care about me. Everybody, when she just hits that thing, that last one when Richie got shot, the last one, she hits the thing in and out all day long. That's the only thing. Everybody was sad, and I was like, "Thank the fucking Lord, she's gone." And then I found out she really died, and I was like, "Oh, that's a little sad." But still, she was super young.
But yeah, I mean, as far as doing a funeral episode for her, I don't think they could have done a better job because I mean, it's the thing. No one wants to be there. No one's really got great things to say about it. And all this stuff with Tony being racist and stuff. So yeah, I mean, this is a Great episode. A lot of stuff going on.
I should say this. The man panicked because the man had a panic attack after seeing a box of Uncle Ben's rice of a black man. And
That
then
was the
ate
final
cold cuts
trigger.
and passed out.
Great.
Hilarious.
So funny. Yeah, this episode's fantastic too. I think Sopranos. I think they got off to the best start of all the
Yeah.
season 3s. I think by far. Yeah, just I feel like in some way the best way for the show to pay tribute to the actress who played Olivia Soprano is just to acknowledge the type of character that she was, who was just a terrible person. Like she tried to put a hit out on her son. So of course, like the funeral episode about her is one where everybody is uncomfortable. Nobody wants to be there. You'll have like guys like Silvio before going. It's like, I gotta miss the fucking first home game to the Jets for this shit. Like,
we
and
got a
then-
shot this year.
And then like just like when they're in the circle and like Janice is trying to drum up stuff and she's like, Tony, don't you want to tell people about how she kept all your high school stuff? It was like, you just did. Wrap it up, Janice. Fucking hilarious. But yeah, then that and much like Mad Men, I like when I was so excited to see Lane Price, I was so excited to see Ralphie in this episode. Gonna get a lot of good stuff from Ralphie from this point on. Very, very excited to see more of him going forward.
Okay. Final episode. Fortunate Son. Main thing for this one, Christopher gets introduced into the mafia. He's finally a made man. They go through a ceremony, basically lighting apparently a card, rub it through your hands, and say you will turn on your family. Fucking wild. People kept turning on their family, so I don't think it really fucking does much, but sure. He proceeds to saying reinforces their loyalty must be absolute. Tony, this is one of my favorite episodes, and there's a few reasons why. Sports betting is kind of featured in this, but Walnuts passes, basically tells him Christopher's going to be taking over the sports betting. Regardless what happens, $6,000 goes back to Walnuts at the end. Non-negotiable. That has to happen. Let me tell you, there couldn't be a bigger idiot in the fucking world than Christopher to take on sports betting. But before we get there, Tony and Janice, Tony basically like convinces, like tells Janice she can go take the house or whatever. Like, you should live there. Like, you should do that. Oh, what about the old house? Oh, she knows she'll be moving out soon. Like, no issues. Even though that's basically what she said she was going to do anyways. And like Tony, like Janice, like acted like it was her, like Tony's idea, but that ends up happening. Christopher is, he has to now take over Walnut stuff, so he's end up doing that. Tony's trying to find his origins, apparently eating gabagool. While eating the plate, he finally had a sudden panic attack, and they're saying now Jennifer believes there's an associated with meat and his panic attacks because the first time he was making sausages, and it was about ducks, and he passed out. Fucking wild. I don't know. There is a flashback in this episode that basically recalls Tony formative when he was a child. He witnessed his father violently beat a butcher to pay his debts. Johnny gave Tony a piece of steak after the beating. Basically, between food, violence, and anxiety, that's what they're tying it to. Because Tony also passes out in that flashback with his dad, and then we're talking the thing. So it's kind of like associated back. So they're thinking that maybe the story. Christopher is struggling to be a made man. He's got more attention. He can't just be a jerk off and do whatever he wants apparently anymore. Now he has things. He places the wrong money on the wrong bets, and like they're like, why would you do that? He's gonna kick her. So he's in the hunt to get the money. He brings it over to Walnuts. It's $2,000 shy, and he's like, "It's $2,000. Don't worry, I'm good for it." He's like, "The fuck you are like anything fucking normal. Like, you're not gonna get by with me. Like, you're I need that money. He's like, you got a couple days, but you're gonna owe me $2,000 on top of it to show that I'm not fucking around. So it's like this whole like Christopher's like, wait a minute, me and Walnuts are tired. Like, what are you talking about? No. I need that money. So Christopher ends up having to like hunt for that money. He ends up they end up robbing
like a college
college, like
thing, yeah.
Rutgers or something, like ends up thing. There's I don't remember the kid's name, but it's Richie's
nephew.
nephew.
Yeah.
Nephew. He basically sits there and he's like, they're over there at Sunday dinner for at the Sopranos. They're calling, I'm not going to make it. And Carmelo's like, maybe Tony can talk to him. Tony invites him down. He's like, sit down. He comes in wearing glasses. And he's like, you sit the fuck down. Let's talk. Let me tell you something you're not going to like. Richie was like a snake. Like he's a cop. Like he did that and he's in the witness protection. Like he fled. Like everybody knows. You don't think that hurt? And I think you think I had something to do with it. But I'm telling you, I didn't. Which, true and not true, he didn't actually pull the trigger. He didn't even know that he was going to die, but he took care of him. So he's basically convincing him to like go back to med school. Like you don't want you in this life. Richie didn't want. Like we didn't want you in the life. I don't want AJ in this life. You can figure this out. AJ's getting in trouble at school. Getting in trouble by getting in a fight during bull practice. AJ is displaying like signs of panic attacks, much like himself. He's raising concern about his son's inherent his mental health struggles. We get into like a football scene where like Tony and like a father moment. I love they bond over sports. Great for them. What else happens? Carmela and goes to college, invites Tony to go to college with him. Says no. Then Noah like. I guess Noah has no idea who Carmelo Soprano really is because he's got some balls on him to just sit there and be like, she's like, can we talk? Like, she tries to justify why Tony's acting the way Tony does. And she's like, you leave me and Meadow together? And then Meadow was like, I'll leave. I'll leave if she wants me to leave. And then Meadow's like, yeah, I can handle it. It basically was like, I hope you're not airing your whole family's business like out in the public. And Meadow's like, no, but he's not dumb. Like I'm going with him and I'm not going to stop seeing Noah. Like that's not going to happen. Which Carmelo wants Tony. Like if you want her to stop seeing Tony, like if you want to stop seeing Noah, keep pushing her and you're going to push her closer and closer to Noah. Like that's what's going to end up happening. So, and it basically ties to how racist, Tony is, like how he say like, oh, what was he burning a cross in the backyard? What was he his clan mean? Like they drive home that pretty good. Meadow is. Also, the Scream mask I think were pretty funny because like I know it's a couple years like removed, but seeing that was funny. Yeah, that's basically what ends up happening. Walnuts gets his money from Christopher at the end. He goes, "It's not easy." Yeah, you fucking think. Like, yeah, it's not easy to be on this side of it, but congratulations. Welcome to the family. Like, get your shit done. Yeah, so I thought it was a pretty good episode. Again, sports betting, them arguing at the table, like, why the fuck would you take that line? He's got an automatic, the kicker's got an automatic leg. Like, oh, shit. Why didn't somebody tell me that? Like, those are terrible at sports betting.
Yeah, I love Christopher's a made man, and he's already fucking it up the first week. And there's like, I can't be seen in establishments like this anymore when he goes to the pizza place. Gotta start going to the higher class places. But yeah, all the stuff with Janice and the maid's leg and stuff, that was all craziness. She's horrible. But it was interesting too, seeing therapy actually. We get to the root and figured out that meat is Tony's kryptonite.
That sucked.
That sucks so bad. I was like, can't relate. That brings me peace and calm eating steak. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, just double down on just the whole thing. Like, yeah, why does Janice want these records so bad? Like, what's the?
She's going to try to
it's
sell them.
money.
She thinks some of them worth
It's
money.
like there's a collection to it. Like
That's
she
fucking
thinks she can make
stupid.
money.
Like, like, nobody wants to like buy these old fucking records. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna steal this bitch's leg, and then she'll give me the records back. I'm like, what?
She'd probably get more money for the leg.
Yeah. That.
Oh yeah, I forgot to even touch on that.
Yeah.
Janice steals the woman's leg, steals it from her, and she's like, "Well, if those records return home, I bet the leg will return home too." And it's like, "You bitch." Her hobbling down the road, like I was laughing so hard. I was like, "Oh my god, Janice is the fucking worst." I was like, "She's going to bed." I was like, "What's going to end up in her bed? What's going to end up doing something?" Like, nope, I'll just take your leg.
I mean, if we're being honest, if it were not for this particular week, I think Janice, like, that is a shoe-in pick for like bad guy of the week, taking the fucking amputee leg away. Like, what the fuck is that shit? But is what it is. I mean, but yeah, no, this episode's fun. I think also glad Christopher thing, and then the whole Omen thing of seeing the crow out in the window. He's like sitting there, what the fuck is that all about?
It's not about death. It's about not about that. Like it's death, and it's got to be inside, flying in the rack.
It's just a bird.
Yeah, that and we're getting more stuff with Jackie Jr. You're like, yeah, this is a pretty good episode. I think Sopranos definitely had, I think, the best run of this week.
Okay.
All right, so I guess
Bad guy of the week.
Bad guy of the week.
Who wants to start?
A lot of good choices.
There's like no like runaway clear choice. I don't think.
I don't think there's a clear one. I was trying to think of one off the top of my head.
I'd probably just gonna put Janice, because I mean she takes the lady's leg, and at the funeral she's just like calling people like, say something about her, putting people on the spot.
If there was a good person of the week, Carmela would be very.
Oh yeah. She's boss.
I think my vote's gonna be for Vic. Vic gets that girl to like, she's already in an abusive relationship, gets her help, and then like because she doesn't want to do it, she's panicking because her whole life's in jail. He decides to put a gun in her mouth and threaten her even more and puts her more into the life of things. So Vic's a fucking douchebag for that. Like his intensity is getting more and more.
And then at the end he crumbles up to $20 and just throws it in the road.
Shane buying a car is just like in 2 months is the dumbest move of the week. Like, and then getting her pregnant too. Good Lord, you guys don't even know each other.
They've been together for a couple months.
This is true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go with Tony. I think for the obvious reasons we were talking about, and also then go into the cartoonish thing. Go into the cartoonish thing of seeing the Uncle Ben box and then passing out. Yeah, that was cherry.
Yeah, him and the Noah stuff. Yeah,
I forgot about that. He's pretty racist. He's our bad guy. All right. I think that's the episodes. Next week, 333, correct?
Yeah.
We're still in threes. And then again, there will be some times where we go down to 2 for Mad Men and Sopranos, while Matt stays at 3 because he's got 15 total episodes this week, and we still have 13 in ours. So we'll get there later. But great start to season 3. We'll see how this finishes out. We will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Let's take it a little slower. Make it
I'm a different kind of cop.
I don't wanna do your dirty work no more.